Mastering Inseparable Phrasal Verbs. Dodging the Common Pitfalls. Hello, language enthusiasts. Welcome back to our in-depth series on English phrasal verbs. Today, we're diving deep into inseparable phrasal verbs. Specifically, we're addressing the common mistakes that learners often make when dealing with them. And, of course, we're also going to share some handy tips to help you navigate these challenging waters with greater ease. To begin with, let's take a quick refresher on what inseparable phrasal verbs are. In English, a phrasal verb is a verb that is combined with a preposition or an adverb, or both. When this combination of words has a different meaning than the individual words themselves, we call it an inseparable phrasal verb. The tricky part? You cannot separate these words with other words in the sentence. An example is, look after, which means, to take care of. You cannot say, look the kids after. It must always be, look after the kids. Now, let's look at the typical mistakes English learners make when using inseparable phrasal verbs. Mistake 1. Trying to separate them. One of the most common mistakes is trying to separate the verb from its particle. As mentioned earlier, in inseparable phrasal verbs, the verb and its particles must always stick together. Mistake 2. Incorrect particle use. Another common mistake is using the wrong particle with the verb. This can drastically change the meaning of what you're trying to say. Mistake 3. Misunderstanding the meaning. Since the meaning of phrasal verbs is often different from the sum of their parts, learners sometimes misinterpret the meaning of these verbs. Always remember to learn inseparable phrasal verbs as whole units, not just as individual words. Now, onto the part you've been waiting for. Tips for getting a grip on these tricky language components. Tip 1. Learn them in context. When you're learning new inseparable phrasal verbs, try to learn them in context. This means seeing them used in a sentence or a conversation, which will make their meaning more clear. Tip 2. Practice makes perfect. Practice, practice, practice. The more you use them, the better you will understand when and how to use these verbs correctly. Tip 3. Group them. Try grouping phrasal verbs by their particles. This can often give you some insight into the general meaning of the particle, which can make learning new phrasal verbs easier. That wraps up our discussion on common mistakes with inseparable phrasal verbs and how to avoid them. Remember, mastering a language is a journey, not a destination. Take your time, practice consistently, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. That's how we learn. We hope you found this video helpful and are feeling a bit more confident about tackling inseparable phrasal verbs. Stay tuned for more videos on English language learning. Happy studying!